Yeah, so one of the saddest things about us as human beings, and the most scary things really, is that most of the beliefs we have about ourselves, who we are, what we're capable of, and even our religious beliefs were created by a child under 7 years old. That's a very scary thought, because you would not have a 5-year-old girl making a lifelong decision about what you're capable of or who you are. You'd not have a 4-year-old boy deciding on what you're capable of in your life. And yet most of the beliefs we're walking around with about ourselves were created by a child under 7. And most things I'm talking about here are just Freddy theories for what they're worth, right? But they're based on working with over 35,000 clients. So I've kind of a right to have a few theories. But one of my theories is this, that your mind and body, everything about you is geared toward thriving. Given the opportunity, you will thrive. But we're only ever making decisions with the information we have at that point in time. And at 13 or 12 or 5 or 6, we don't have the information you have now. And yet we're making decisions in that time. And then we think we're stuck with that decision. So any time in our life, if you like, you can upgrade, you can go. And again, I'm going to talk about that technique we've spoken about before, my blink and delete technique, which is very simple, but I think it's really powerful. And this is how the blink and delete technique works. When you come up against a block in your life, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not any good at that, I'm never going to lose this weight, I'm never going to achieve my goal. When we come up against a block like that, we ask this question: when did I make that decision? How old was I? Where was I? Who was I with? And was it even my decision? And I promise you, when you ask that question, you will immediately go to where you made the decision. It won't take 3 years of regression therapy to find out when you made that decision. Your brain works in microseconds, and everything that's ever happened to you, everything you've ever experienced, felt, touched, experienced, tasted, is somewhere in this kind of vast warehouse, which is your memory. And when you ask the question, when did I make that decision? How old was I? Where was I? Who was I with? Was it even my decision? You'll immediately go there. And you might question it. Could that possibly be right? But I'll ask you to trust your unconscious mind. And then you go to where you made the decision. Then you ask this next question. Now that I've evolved, because you have, you're not the same person you were a week ago, never mind 20 years ago. Now that I've evolved, is that decision any longer viable? Or is it a redundant, obsolete decision I made in a less informed state? And if the answer comes back, no, it's no longer viable, you blink twice and you delete that decision. And then you go to neutral emotion, which I'm going to teach you all how to do today. And you make a new decision from where you are now. And you can continue to upgrade those programs. And you're going to hear this in your mind over these next few days and weeks and months, maybe. Every time you come up against the block, it's going to be automatic. You're going to ask the question, when did I make that decision? How old was I? Where was I? Who was I with? Was it even my decision? And the last part of that question, was it even my decision? When you ask that question, you'll find that very often it wasn't your decision. It was someone else's opinion about what you were capable of. But because you're a child and they're an adult, a teacher, a parent, you think, well, if they say that, that must be true. And we accept it and we take it as a decision. But we don't have to live with them. We can say, no, this no longer suits me. Go to neutral, blink twice, delete that decision, go to neutral, which I'm going to show you how to do, and make a new decision. And we can continue to upgrade. So when it comes to our emotions, as I said, to be able to go to neutral, it is the space to be. You know, I've got some house martins building nests all around my house here. It's an incredible thing to watch, because these house martins, they take little bits of mud and stick. It's not like twigs and leaves, it's mud. They somehow wet this mud, they stick it on your window frame in the corner or under an eave, and it stays there. It's solid. Have you never seen it like it? And they build this over maybe 5 or 6 days. And I was thinking about this the other day. The chicks in that nest, the parents aren't teaching them how to build those nests. They fly from here in England to Africa and back every year. They don't teach them how to fly to Africa. How many millennia since the first bird decided that he could possibly build a nest with mud and twigs before that became an instinctive, learned behavior? How many millennia? I saw a young man the other day and had been suffering from depression. And there's no reason for him to suffer from depression. He's loved. He comes from a really nice family. He's got everything he wants. You know, he's a really bright, he's a beautiful man. Everything he wants. But he said he's been seeing therapists and he has no idea why he feels like he feels. Contemplating finishing himself, everything. His mum was telling me that he's a gentleman. He's kind of old school, even though he's only 20 or 21. He's old school, and he kind of dresses a little bit old fashioned as well. So she was telling me these things, and she said he's very intelligent. And she said the first thing he said when he could speak, which was pretty scary, he said, I shouldn't be here. You know, imagine a 2-year-old saying his first line was, I shouldn't be here. So I'd heard what his mum had said, and I was listening to him. I was thinking about my house martins and how that talent to build a nest is instinctive in them, and it has to come down through genetics, because there's no other way to pass that skill on. Now, we see people like Michael Jackson. He can sing like an old soul singer at 5 years old and dance like he's been dancing forever. We get, you know, certain people like Tchaikovsky who can write, concertos at 7 or 8 years old. There's never been any explanation for why we get these prodigies like we do. But there's one guy here in England, his name is Robert Winston. He's one of our great TV guys, big moustache. And I believe it was him anyway. And he said the explanation for why we get, every now and again, we get one of these kind of genius kids that can do things at 5 and 6 they shouldn't be able to do, play piano or play guitar or whatever it might be. He said the explanation is that when we learn something, and we've all learned things to the point where it becomes automatic, something we do without thinking, when we get a skill like that, like playing the piano or whatever it might be, some of that knowledge and skill gets dumped into our genes. And then when we reproduce, it goes through to the next generation, the generations after in their genes. And I was thinking about that with these birds. How many millennia did that take for that to become genetic? They just know how to build one of those nests. But if talent, let's take this to where I'm going with this, because I'm on a bit of a rant. But if talent can come down through our genes, then what if in your ancestry, there's been a lot of trauma? You know, we know there are certain religious groups that are persecuted for millennia. Now, they've been persecuted for thousands and thousands of years. It still goes on. I've just started, some of you know, because I've put some posts out on Facebook, I've just started keeping bees. Well, I haven't actually started yet because I've ordered what they call a nuke, a nuclear family of bees. So it's like 1,000 bees come in a box, and you put them into your beehive. So I've been reading about bees, and there's honeybees from all around the world, but there's some from Africa, a certain, what you call it, a breed of bees or species of bees from Africa that are more aggressive than some from Europe. And the reason they're more aggressive, get this, is because for millennia, they've been hunted. They've been hunted by bears and other animals. So they've developed, a stronger sting and a more aggressive attitude to anyone around their hives. The new bees could only last for a few weeks. That's in their genes to be more aggressive than the European bees because of their ancestry. So it's something I'm going to work on. It's something I am going to get together and work on, because I think there's an answer to maybe a lot of things. I don't know, or maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but things like autism, ADHD. If talent can come down through your genes, then past trauma must be able to come down through your genes. And so I said to this kid, I said, well, it's nothing to do with you, this feeling of depression. Well, it's nothing to do with your life. And I'm not talking about past lives, because I'm not a great believer, to be honest. Doesn't mean you existed before and now you've brought this thing to this life, but your ancestors have existed. And just like your blue eyes have come down through your ancestors, or your brown eyes, or your brown hair, or whatever it might be, your skin color, then what if that has just come through from one of your ancestors that had a really tough time, that felt whatever happened to them? And for this young guy, because one of the things that's worst thing for all of us when we're stuck in a situation is not understanding why we're like it, when there's no answer to that. Just a light at the end of the tunnel for this guy, that maybe there's a way out of this. And I ran some techniques with him, and at the end of it, he looked stunned and I said, where's the depression? And he said, I can't feel it. So anyway, we're getting offline here, but what I'm saying to you is there's much more to us, and we all know this. That's why you're here. There's much more to us than just here. We're such an incredible, complex, and an incredible creation, if you like. So to be able to say, when did I make the decision? And ask the question, was it even my decision? Maybe it was a decision made by an ancestor. That's why I feel like I feel. I don't know, but you'll go to where the decision was made. Oh, yeah. And when once we look at it again from where we're at and say, okay, let's take any learnings from that time and let's let go of that emotion now, because it's of no use to it. It's redundant. Let's let it go. Blink twice, delete that decision, go to neutral and make a new decision, because in neutral, you can make the right decision. You can take the right actions and you can get the right outcome. It doesn't mean when you're in neutral, you don't care. That's not, I don't care. It's neutral. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And we're going to eliminate any of the useless, unnecessary emotion you're feeling. Even if you felt that for 40 years or 50 years, it's time to put it down. So like you, Heather, you stop sabotaging yourself. Ask Sandra's question. I want you all to ask that question when you're in trance. I'm going to ask your unconscious mind to ask the question for you. What has to happen for you to love yourself enough to treat yourself to the health and the life and the happiness that you want? What has to happen? And if you are not doing that now, if not, why not? The two best questions on this planet. Answer those two questions and your life changes. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to take you into hypnosis. We're going to eliminate any useless, unnecessary negative emotion, including any anger or sadness or hurt, pain that you've experienced that you want to be free of now. And I know we kind of think if I let that go, then maybe it'll happen again. But there is only this moment. I've said it to you before, the past is a void. It's a vacuum. It stretches back to the Big Bang. It no longer exists. Even what I've just said is now in that vacuum. There is only this moment. If you're worrying about the future hasn't happened yet. It can only be imagined. We can decide how we want to imagine our future and make a decision to treat yourself to the future you want. It's not a straight line, is it? We make a decision to lose weight. It's not a straight line. So yeah, I'm going to be this weight. Then your partner comes in with a box of chocolates. You think, oh, it's just a box of chocolates first, then I'll carry on to my line, you know. I'm getting fit. I'll stub my toe, and you think, oh, that's it then. That's the next 3 years gone. Even though my toe doesn't hurt after 2 weeks, I've stopped doing my weight, so that's it. You know, any reason to do it. But it's not a straight line. But one of my favorite kind of analogies is this, and I don't know where it comes from, Zig Ziglar, but one of those genius kind of guys from the past. He said, and some of you might have done some sailing, but he said, the same wind blows on all of us. The wind of success, the wind of failure, the wind of pain, blows on all of us. But it's not the blowing of the wind that decides our destination, but the setting of the sail. It's not the direction of the wind that determines our outcome, but the setting of the sail. If any of you have sailed, you'll know that sometimes you're actually sailing away from where you actually want to go. They call it tacking. So you're going in this direction and that direction, this direction, you're heading upwind, but you're actually never going in a straight line. It's not the blowing of the wind, but the setting of the sail. Our lives are not, unfortunately, a straight line to our outcome. We get blown off course at times, but we have to say, okay, I'm going to step back on that path. When we're losing weight or we're trying to create the body we want or the health we want, there are going to be continuous things thrown at us. It's not the blowing of the wind. It's not the things that the blocks that come up. It's the setting of the sail. We just have to keep going. One of our great orators, but also one of our great leaders of this country, Winston Churchill, he said, when going through hell, keep going. I love that quote. When you're going through hell, keep going. Don't stop. But we know none of us get there without any blocks. But if it's a block of your own making, ask the question, when did I make that decision? And then look at it again. If it's no longer viable, delete it. And then go to neutral, make a new decision. So that's it. Are you all ready to be hypnotized? Are you ready to have complete control of your emotions? Because this is what's going to happen. I know some may be passing our genes on, but if we teach this to our youngsters, I honestly believe it's the next evolution of mankind. If enough of us teach our kids to be able to go to neutral emotion, then it won't be in our lifetime, it might be in the next 1,000 years, but sooner or later, once mankind have control of their emotions, then that's going to go down through the generations, bit by bit, until it becomes something that human beings have the ability to do. Right, that's just my thinking. So if you're here in 2,000 years and you notice that everyone's got control of their emotion, I remember that bald guy talking about that all those years ago. Right, so if you're ready to do this, you know how to do this. Assume the position, get yourself comfortable, right? Make sure you're not perched on the edge of a table or something. I know, look at Jana, she's already there. She'll be getting a blanket out next. If Marie's here, she already will have a blanket out. So get yourself comfortable, make sure you're in a safe place. Place your hands separately, place your feet separately if you can. So don't have your legs crossed if you can. Make sure you're comfortable. And when you're ready to do this, just take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and as you breathe out, allow your eyes to close, but only as quickly as you're ready to take absolute control of you. That's right. For a moment, focus on those tiny muscles around your eyes and allow your eyes to relax. Imagine having your temples massaged. And just for a while, nobody wants anything, no one expects anything. And there is nothing for you to do but to listen to my voice. Remembering those other experiences of hypnosis you've had with me, and how it's felt to sit and listen to my voice speaking to you. Remembering the words and the sounds, how it felt as you drifted into that wonderful space. And I'm going to say some words, and I want you to repeat these words silently to yourself. And aim these words at yourself. And even at first, you don't experience them, because in a moment you will. So as I say these words, I want you to repeat them silently to yourself. I am completely calm and relaxed. I am completely calm and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My right arm is heavy, loose, and relaxed. My right arm is loose and relaxed. My right arm is completely relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My left arm is loose and relaxed. My left arm is heavy, loose, and relaxed. My left arm is completely relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My right leg is heavy, loose, and relaxed. My right leg is heavy, loose, and relaxed. My right leg is completely relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My left leg is heavy, loose and relaxed. My left leg is loose and relaxed. My left leg is completely relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. My mind and body are completely calm and relaxed. Now, as you drift deeper and deeper into hypnosis, less and less aware of yourself as a physical being, but totally aware of yourself as a mind. Like your body's had a general anesthesia in that chair. Unaware of where your right foot is, or your left hand, or your right shoulder, or your left knee, as the body just disappears from your mind for a while. Deeper, deeper, deeper down into that feeling. And with the eyes closed, you can continue to relax even more. Drifting down toward a place of quietness. A place of peaceful inner awareness. A place that almost seems to give off signals that directs awareness down toward it, into it. More and more comfortably, more and more effortlessly, more and more completely and deeply than before. Get a sense of that happening automatically. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. Every word I say takes you deeper and deeper into the most incredible space of bliss. Nobody wants anything. No one expects anything. And the deeper you go, the better you feel. Imagine it's happening automatically. Drifting down through space and time. And just when you think you've reached the ultimate space of total bliss and profound trance, my voice, my words are going to take you 10 times deeper. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. Get a sense of that now. Every word I say doubles that feeling. Everything I say now is your reality. Every suggestion I give you, your mind and body will act upon. At a molecular, cellular, neurological levels, now your reality. That's right, just sinking even deeper into that feeling. And I want you to enjoy every moment. You have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And that unconscious mind, the back of the mind, that instinctive, intuitive part of your being, can continue to hear, to understand and respond to those things I might say without the need for you to do anything at all. It's so much easier for the conscious mind simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. That's right. Letting go even of the effort it takes to make the effort that it might take. To tell the exact position of arms, legs, or the entire body now that seems to drift through time and space. That wonderful, free floating place of effortless relaxation, letting go. Allowing events to occur in their own time, in their own way, as you drift as a mind. And that mind drifts without boundaries, without borders, without limits. Just for a moment, allow yourself the pleasure of going out there into your future, to a time when you're free of every ounce of emotional pain, free of every block, free of every limiting belief that was ever placed on you. Get a sense of that now. See yourself there. Notice the way you move and the way you breathe. Free of the past, free to be, free to create the life you want. That's right. Notice the way you move and the way you breathe. Step into that body. Get a sense of that now. And ask the question, what has to happen for you to love yourself enough to create the life you want, that you deserve? And ask this question. Feel into that feeling and ask the question, how much fun is it? How much fun can you make it? How important is it for you? Because now you know where you're going. You know how good you're going to feel. Everything about your nature is inclined toward making it happen. Get a sense of that now. Look back to now. Notice the things you changed along the way that led to that feeling of freedom, led to that ability to create that life you want. Think about the people you love and people that love you. And think about the people you've helped already with your skills and your love and your kindness. Just for a moment, allow yourself that pleasure, because you are love and you are loved and you are loving. You are the most incredible creation in the known universe. You are unique. Get a sense of that now. And as you drift in that space, my voice and words are going to drift with you. In a moment, you're going to have the most incredible feeling of liberation and freedom. Because in a moment, the essence of who you are, that intangible part of a human being, now some cultures call it the spirit, the soul. I call it the essence. The essence of who you are, the passenger, the observer in that physical body, is going to separate from that body and leave that body in that chair for a while. And it will be the most incredible experience. Get a sense of it happening now. Just drifting up out of that body. Get a sense of that separation and knowing it's safe to do this because I will bring you back. Get a sense of just leaving that body in that chair for a while. And as you drift up and out and away from that body, I want you to look back at that body in that chair. And just for a moment, show it some appreciation. Just how incredible are you? Look at that body in that chair and recognize just how incredible your body is. Think about your feet for a moment. How many places have you been because of your feet? How many people have you met? How many miles have your feet carried you? How incredible are your feet? Just for a moment, think about your hands. How incredible are your hands? The things that your hands enabled you to create. The people you've held in those hands, the love you've felt through those hands. How incredible are you? And as you drift away from that body, just for a moment, know it's okay to love your body. Treat your body with some love. And as you drift away from your body, the essence drifts away from your body and leaves that body in that chair. Notice that the essence of who you are is ageless. It's infinite, has no edge. An understanding that no matter how incredible your body is, you are not your body. And that nothing that happens to that body in that chair can touch you, can touch the essence of who you are. Because the essence of who you are is infinite, ageless. And the essence of who you are is pure light and pure joy and pure love. The natural intelligence that you were born with. Now get a sense of drifting up out of that building you're in. Drifting up into that sky, drifting higher and higher. Like a helium balloon that some young girl has let go of in the park, just drifting up into that sky. Get a sense of drifting so high that you can actually look back at the planet Earth. See that beautiful blue planet, the whites of the clouds, the mountaintops, the greens of the forest, the blue of the ocean. See that incredible blue planet spinning slowly through space, time. That's right, get a sense of that now. And notice as you look at the planet from way off, how your perspective changes. And things that had seemed overwhelming no longer have any power over you. Things that had seemed hard or difficult to overcome no longer have any power over you. Now get a sense of a target, a massive target like an archery target between you and that planet. The coloured bands, the centre. Now in the centre of that target is every ounce of emotional pain that you've ever experienced. Every ounce of useless, unnecessary, redundant pain, including anxiety and fear, anger, malice, sadness. Every ounce of unnecessary pain, emotional pain and physical pain is in the center of that target. In a moment, I'm going to make this sound. And as I make that sound, you will be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through that target and straight out the other side into a space of neutral emotion. And it will seem weird for you because some of you have never experienced neutral before, but it will be an incredible space to be in. So as I make that sound, you're going to be fired, shot through that target into a space of neutral. But I want you to be brave about this, because as you go through the target, you may experience that emotional or physical pain even more intensely for a split second, a microsecond, but be brave. This is the last time it will ever affect you. So be brave. As I make that sound, you'll be fired, shot like an arrow, straight into a space of neutral emotion. Get ready. Now you're out the other side, just drifting in that space. Nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. You are in neutral. And in neutral, you can make the right decisions, you can take the right actions, you can get the right outcome. And as you drift in that space of neutral, I'm going to snap my fingers once. And that sound is going to anchor that feeling of neutral to that sound. And from today, wherever you have to make the right decision, whenever you're experiencing negative emotion that's detrimental to you and those around you, and you want to access neutral, you snap your fingers once and you will instantly go back to this space of neutral where you can make the right decision, take the right action, get the right outcome. From today, no matter where you are, what's going on around you, what chaos is going on around you, and you want to access neutral, you snap your fingers once, you'll instantly go back to the space of neutral. That's right, get a sense of that now. From today, it belongs to you. Every ounce of emotional pain is gone from your body and your mind. You cannot feel it, you cannot experience it. Get a sense of drifting across the other side of your room so you can see yourself sitting in that chair. See that body in that chair. Notice it's not you. It's not who you are. You see the clothes that body's wearing, you can hear my voice. Notice as you watch yourself on the other side of the room, how every ounce of useless, unnecessary, emotional and physical pain has gone from your body and your mind. You cannot feel it, you cannot experience it. As you watch yourself from the other side of the room, as you watch that body from the other side of the room, notice that every ounce of that emotional pain's gone. And every ounce of useless, unnecessary physical pain's gone. You cannot feel it, you cannot experience it. I'd like your unconscious mind to make those changes now at a molecular, cellular, neurological level that will allow you that freedom forever. Only when the unconscious mind knows and has made those changes and eliminated any emotional pain that's come down through your ancestry that doesn't belong to you, to let go of it now. Do it now. Any useless, unnecessary emotional pain that's come down through your ancestry that doesn't belong to you and never belonged to you, let it go now. Only then will you drift back over to your body, drop back into your body in that chair, and go even deeper into the most profound state of hypnosis. Go ahead, take your time, do it thoroughly. Only as quickly as the unconscious mind knows and has made those changes that will allow you that freedom forever from every ounce of the useless, unnecessary pain, both physical and emotional, that was never yours in the first place, and allows the conscious mind to accept the changes made. Only then will you drift back over to your body, drop into your body, go even deeper into hypnosis. It's right in front today. No matter how hard you try, you will never experience that useless, unnecessary pain again. And the harder you try and remember what it felt like, the further away it goes. You know, it's easy to forget. And we put our keys down sometimes, forget where we put them. It's easy to forget. And I don't know, it would be a minute from now, or an hour from now, or 20 years from now, when you suddenly realize you are thinking about something else entirely. And every ounce of that useless pain disappeared right here, right now, replaced by new understanding. And as you drift in that space, I'm going to snap my fingers. And that sound this time is going to flood your body with a feeling of unconditional self-love. And I want you to understand it's okay to feel that good. As I snap my fingers, your mind and body are going to be flooded with the most intense experience of unconditional self-love. Something you may have never experienced before, but I want you to understand it's okay to feel that good. Get ready. Feel that feeling flooding your body and mind. The most incredible, intense feeling of unconditional self-love. Get a sense of that now. And notice as your body's flooded with that feeling, that every doubt, every block is gone, because they cannot coexist in your body with that feeling. And from today, when you need to access neutral to make the right decision, or to switch off a negative, useless emotion, you just snap your fingers once, and wherever you are, you'll return to neutral, where you can make the right decision. So it's your privilege. Use this experience now. Think about those things you can do. The strength, the ability, the skills, the love you may have overlooked before, that will allow you a clear view of the possibilities of a new way of living, a new way of being. Take that time now. Once again, go out into your future, to a place where you've found the answer to that question. What has to happen for you to love yourself enough to treat yourself, to create the life you want? Because now you know how good you're going to feel. Now you know what it's like to feel that unconditional self-love. Everything about your mind and body is inclined toward making it happen. You will be kind to yourself. You will take care of yourself because you are worth it. That's right. Get a sense of that now. And go with your unconscious often as you need to know that you're free. Free of the past, free to be. The harder you try and remember what it felt like to doubt yourself, the further away it goes. Every ounce of emotional pain's gone from your mind and your body. Imagine it's happened and there's nothing you can do about that. The harder you try and remember what it felt like, the further away that pain goes. In a moment, I'm going to count to 10. Every suggestion I've given you, your mind and body will act upon without hesitations. Now your reality. On 8, your eyes will open. You are going to feel incredible, like you've had a ton weight lifted. And on 10, that feeling of freedom, that lightness of being, that new understanding, and that feeling of unconditional self-love is going to grow stronger day by day as you create the life you want. Free of the past, free of every emotion that came down through your ancestors that was never yours in the first place. Free to be. So get ready. On 8, your eyes will open and you will feel incredible because you are incredible. And on 10, that wonderful feeling is going to grow stronger day by day. 1, feeling absolutely wonderful. 2, to create the life you want and do it brilliantly. 3, a feeling of freedom from every negative, limiting belief that was never yours in the first place. 4, feel the force of that energy and love flooding your body and mind. 5, feeling incredibly alive now. 6, 7, 8, eyes opening, feeling absolutely incredible. 9, 10. Hi, Tina. Good to see you. Right. I hope you enjoyed the experience. Allow yourself to feel into that feeling of unconditional self-love. No more sabotage, Heather. Right, look after yourself. Treat yourself to the body you want. Treat yourself to the health you want. Understand you're worth doing it for. And it's the same for all of us. There's enough people out there who want to beat you up without beating yourself up. All right.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope, look, have a beautiful weekend and enjoy, okay? Good to see you again, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you later. Bye, Graham. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Freddie.
Freddie.
See you next time.
Well, have a beautiful weekend.
And
And
you.
you too.
Thank
Just
you,
be Sandra.
Freddie.
Thank
Bye,
you. That was
Diana.
great. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.